And the
podcast
begins with a song of rebellion.
How can this
podcast.
be my life?
CD Burners.
First of all, do we look younger to you? What do you think? Do we look young? Look at this. Barely move my forehead.
I don't notice. I don't notice a difference.
You
at
will.
all.
You will.
People, you say that.
You
and
did
then,
last time.
I don't know if I did.
You definitely did. It was just so long ago, you don't remember.
We got Botox or some other bullshit called like Xanax. What's it called?
Zeomin.
Yeah, some other shit. And then I didn't know if you could get Botox everywhere. Like I didn't know if like
Yeah, where it works?
yeah, where it works. And I thought you could just get wherever the fuck. But turns out there's like different things for the things that you want, and it doesn't.
Yeah, it's not just
I thought you
inject
just-
the magic syrup.
I just thought you go to the Botox store and they're like, there it is. We can put it in everything.
Here's your new face.
Yeah, and it's not like that. Then they're like, no, we're actually have like a billion different things that one of them is like where they bleed you out.
Microneedling.
Yeah, they're like,
Yeah, we didn't do any of that.
yeah.
Morgan almost got filler, but thankfully he did not. But either way, if we're looking younger to you guys, that is why 64 units of Botox in each of us.
Is that a lot of units?
It's a lot.
Is it?
It's the FDA approved amount.
You can't go any higher than that?
Erin went last time. She got 42.
Well, I don't think she...
I said we got 64. She's like, holy crap.
Well, I don't think she needs it as much as...
She needs it.
No, she doesn't. I think she looks... Everybody look... Nobody needs it, is the thing.
I need it.
No, you don't need it. Nobody needs it. Everybody looks good how they are. I just don't give a fuck. I was like, pump me up.
Yeah.
Pump my shit up.
Well, guys, today you're catching us on a good day.
Are you?
We're talking about Dashboard Confessional's Dusk and Summer. This album came out June 27th, 2006 on Vagrant Records. And it was then reissued again on January 1st, 2007 for whatever reason. This is the fourth album from Dashboard Confessional. It's got a beachy vibe. Here's the CD itself. It looks like a Hurley ad on the cover art.
So when I do the research for the these albums, I try to like go deep into what the fans were thinking at the time, and I try and go like, oh, what was it like in 2006? What were people thinking about this in 2006? And I read this one review that was so fucking... It was really funny, dude. It was like, the album really feels like it, there's songs that you listen to at dusk, and then there are songs that you listen to at dawn. It's not like middle of the day songs. It's not like late night songs. It's like dusk and dawn. And I was like, dude, people suck so bad at like describing how things are. I don't think, it doesn't, to me, it does look like a Hurley ad. That's really
Was it you that said that? Or was that
Probably.
Ricky?
It might have been Ricky.
Somebody in the office was like, oh, is that the one that looks like a Hurley ad? But yeah, Chris said this was he returned. There's a lot that goes into this album, and I do want to kind of talk about where the band was, because I was such a peak Dashboard Confessional fan. Like, they're my favorite band. They were the band that got me into emo music. There's a Billboard article that Joni put in this outline that she made for us, and she's like, you're quoted in this, and it's like people that are quoted in are like Casey Musgraves, Taylor Swift, TJ Petrarca.
That's
like,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. It's fucking cool.
You should RP that shit.
But I'm a big fan of DC, and I have a lot of theories about this album, because this was not my favorite album, but re-listening to it, I was like, oh yeah, this is pretty good. But I have some theories about why this album sounds the way that it sounds. There's a lot that we can kind of get into about it, but Chris did say going home to Florida was kind of the creative boost that he needed to unlock these songs in this album.
That's very interesting, because I read an interview where he was like, I went to New York and it was the...
Yes.
Okay.
So that's the second part of this. So here's what happened.
That's good information.
Dashboard Confessional was at this point like a huge band. They had just put out a Mark Mission, A Brand of Scar in 2003. It was very successful, extremely well received. They had so much hype behind them. Jimmy Iovine was like, they're going to be the biggest band in the world. They're the next Eminem. They're the next REM. They're my baby that I believe in so much.
On the side note, I don't know. You might cover this, and I just don't want to forget it because I will forget it. Was that like? There's some connection between the MTV Unplugged session with him and Nirvana. Like it was. Like I think that it was. Fuck, dude. It's not. I don't know if it's. Whatever. They wanted that one to be as big as the Nirvana one, or like as.
I think the Nirvana one might have been the last one, and then they revived the series for Dashboard Confessional.
That's what it is. And I think you told me that.
Yeah, I read that in the Where Are Your Boys Tonight book.
So sick that I'm just spitting wrong information at the person that told it to me.
So imagine Dashboard 2003. They have this successful full length. They're all over MTV. This is post the Unplugged sessions. They're a big band. They get Spider-Man 2, 2004. They write the title track, Vindicated. It's on the title track, but they write Vindicated for Spider-Man 2.
It's the title track.
And it's massive as well. The fans are just waiting. They're like, what the fuck is next from Dashboard? And I think Chris is also going, what the fuck is next? A lot of pressure. The fans waited for 3 years. They didn't hear shit from Chris. He put out Maybe So Long, which is like a piano ballad, which is on this.
I actually think that, he said that he wrote, that was the first song. I think that was, where is it? It says that was like the first song that he wrote.
At one point, he put out a statement that was like, this next one's going to be a piano-driven pop album. And he had like 30 songs. And then he got together with the band and they started playing it. And he was like, you know what? I don't like any of these. I think the fans would like it, but I don't really like them. Scrapped them all. Then he goes to Florida and he starts like rewriting everything. And couple weeks go by, he's got a fresh batch of songs, and then he is all set to go record. And then the label, I think, this is never like divulged, but I think the label sets him up with this producer who's in retirement named Daniel Lanois. He's U2's producer.
Yeah, he did like U2, dude. Dashboard was on a motherfucking U2 tip during this whole thing.
That's the thing about this record, is I think this was their attempt to become an arena band. And if you listen to it, it's got that U2, that Coldplay. They talk about space a lot. They talk about like giving the instruments space. Like the guitar riffs are like really spaced out. It's not like layers and layers of guitars. There's not 257 tracks like a My Chemical Romance song. Like, it's airy, and like a lot of the riffs are just like one or two notes. It's got that like Coldplay, like arena feel to it.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, like that makes a ton of sense. And also, like didn't he like tour with U2?
He was on tour with U2.
Yeah, dude.
While
like,
this album was being like made and mixed.
So
and
maybe he got that idea in his head to be like, I'm gonna do this. Because the thing I got about this album is like, it is not my favorite Dashboard album. It's like one of the ones that I fell off a little bit, and not saying that I wasn't a fan, because I think that he was maybe one of the top people, like top artists that I listen to, like to influence me into like the scene. I think you're right, because he was hanging around all that stuff. He was being in the U2 tour. He's working with U2's producer.
mm-hmm.
He got dude from like Counting Crows on it, and it seems like dude. It's weird, because it feels like a natural progression of like what rock guys that play in bands like. It's weird. We can't get away from that progression of them like putting out like a rock album.
This still has like a lot of the softer undertones. And I think Chris struggled with this record a lot, like maybe a lot more than, I mean, it's obvious. Like he switched producers halfway through. He just had so much pressure on him coming off of Mark Mishman and Scar. So he throws away 30 songs, writes 30 new ones, works with this producer, Daniel Lanois, and then decides when they're pretty much done with that album, he's on tour with U2, and he's like, you know what, it still needs mixing. Actually, you know what? I just wrote this song in the dressing room of my U2 tour. I think I need to go back and record it, but I'm going to bring on a different producer. So he brings on a different guy named Daniel Gilmore, and they basically redo the whole thing. And if you look at the credits, Daniel Lanois literally has like 2 production credits. He has like a vocal production credit and a production credit on, I want to say, let me look so I don't spread misinfo. Daniel Lanois, he has the vocal production credit on Reason to Believe, and he produced a production credit on Heaven is Here. The rest of it all switched to Daniel Gilmore. And this was like when he went to New York. So he goes to New York. This album's being recorded all over the place. He starts in Silver Lake in LA. He's in Florida. He's in New York. And he was saying, like, when he got to New York, the songs about being on the coast took on like a different meaning.
Yeah, I mean, like, dude, when I go to New York, I feel inspired, and the things that I like thought of in LA mean different things to me when I am in New York, and it gives it a completely different perspective. And like, that is truly how I feel about New York. I'm like, it feels different, and the things that you were maybe working on there, you're getting a new view on, and that maybe is why it changed. But I want to like say, like, I did, like I said, I did fall off a little bit from this, but re-listening to the album, and I think I know why, right? And this is just like a being real and real as a fan, because I am a fan. If I went into this album not thinking it was a Dashboard album, I would be like, this is a good album, right? Or this would be an album that I really, really liked. But what the Dashboard that I like sounded very, very different from this. And not saying that that is wrong, not saying that that's like a wrong or a bad move for an artist to do. It's just when I think of Dashboard, I have a certain memory that I want to hear, and that's a personal thing. I read there were 3 types of Dashboard fans. There was the Further Seems Forever fans that do not know this album exists. There are the OG fans that stopped listening after it went to Acoustic, and then there are ones that became massive fans from a Mark Mission brand Scar, and then love everything afterwards. And those are the 3 types. And I'm somewhere in all of those. Like, I'm somewhere in the middle of all of those things.
Well, I think that Chris is on the same page as you, because this album was re-recorded by Chris in 2019 as a completely solo acoustic record. And he said that he found the original handwritten lyrics to Dusk and Summer before there were any critiques, before the label looked at it, before his management looked at it. He looked at the lyrics and he said, these are some of the best lyrics I've ever written. And I should have known that, and I should have trusted myself. So he redoes Dusk and Summer and puts it out as an acoustic record, along with 2 of his other ones that he redid as acoustic. But I think Dusk and Summer sparked him to be like, I'm going to return to just me acoustic. What if I never tried to be an arena band? What if I just stuck with where I was? Let's rework this album. And I listened to the re-recording, and it's fucking sick.
Dude, well, that's the fucking thing, man. Like, Dashboard is so, in my opinion, revolutionary for a guitar guy, right? Like, and I'll tell you why. Because there've always been dudes with guitars. That's just the way it goes. But you know, I think when my parents think of a dude with a guitar, they think of like Bob Dylan, right? And then there were dudes that with guitars that did emo songs. They sounded like Pedro the Lion, and it was slower and sadder, and it was melancholy. This, when he picked up a guitar and started playing these pop acoustic songs that you could sing along to, I hadn't heard anything like that before. And to me, that it just wasn't something that if I was aware, anybody was fucking doing. So the way that he used an acoustic guitar and the way that he brought that sound into what he is as an artist is, dude, that's kind of fucking, that's a big deal. That's a big deal.
Totally.
It is kind of fucking, he changed the way that people write acoustic guitar songs.
Yeah.
That's when I was writing guitar songs when I was a fucking little kid, all I'd want them to be was like a Dashboard song.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
That's the only thing. That's the only thing I want to hear on an acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
That's literally the only thing I want to hear on an acoustic
It's the
guitar.
only acceptable thing to play on an acoustic.
It literally is. It's the only acceptable thing to play on guitar. I think a guitar is a selfish instrument. But I mean, that, he, and in that way, he is so important. He is so important. And I'm not fucking narrow-minded enough to believe that and want him to stay exactly the way he was when I liked him. I'm like, yeah, dude, fucking grow. Try different shit. I grow. I don't like the same thing that I fucking liked a year ago, or I like different things, or I liked that in a different way. Why would I expect somebody who makes art for a living to stay the same? It's fucked up of anybody to think that.
Yeah, the other day we were talking to Spencer from Under Oath, and they had just announced the 20th anniversary tour of They're Only Chasing Safety, and I had never really thought about it because we're just fans. We only know the music. We don't know their personal relationship with these records. And he was like, yeah, it's going to be great. I mean, it's weird to be on tour playing songs that I wrote when I was 18, and now I'm 38, but cool. Yeah, it'll be good.
Dude, I mean, it's and I think it's really, that is the one thing that I don't think is fair from fans. I don't think, everybody is human. We all change, we all progress, we all hopefully fucking progress. And I think it's really unfair of fans in general to be like, why didn't you do the thing that I liked exactly all the time?
Sure.
Right? I think that's fucking unfair. But I re-listened to it, dude, and I do really, really like these songs. I just had to look at them in a different perspective. I just had to take off my Dashboard Confessional hat and put on another band's hat. If this was another band. And I was like, dude, these are fucking... Look, he is a fucking wildly talented musician. He's a wildly talented songwriter. And I think he only really works with wildly talented people. I remember listening to the drums when he fucking brought in the drums.
Mike Marsh. Mike Marsh was such a good drummer.
Brother, I can't believe how good that guy was.
Yeah.
And he did the thing that I want drummers to do, where it's oh yeah, go fucking nuts, but don't make it sound like you're doing a drum solo. He's got the, when you listening to it, you ever
yeah, it's fun to listen to.
Yeah, it's fun to listen to.
It's not annoying.
Yeah. It's he's got the Travis Barker thing where you're
Right.
I could listen to this guy just play drums.
Totally.
And so I think he works with a ton of musicians like that, and you can tell.
I want to say maybe it's called melodic drumming. Maybe I just made that up. But I think that's a good way to describe what Mike Marsh does.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it's called. I fucking don't. You went to music school.
I don't think that's a real thing. I think I just made that up.
Well, that's what it's called. Mike Marsh does melodic drumming.
Let's do some fast facts. Fast facts. This album debuted at number 2 on Billboard 200 chart. I think that's their highest debut.
Is it?
It sold 134,000 copies in the first week. And then by August, 2 months after its release, it had sold 300,000 copies.
Bro, I don't know what any of these numbers mean. When you say these numbers and when I read them off of, when I'm looking up these albums, somebody could be like, yeah, they sold 200,000 copies. I'd be like,
is that a lot?
Is that good or bad? I don't know.
Yeah. And it's so interesting too because they've changed, what it means now to sell a copy. Streams count as a copy, so it's I don't like every 10,000 streams is a copy. I don't know either.
I mean, the only reason why how I follow this is like DJ Academics. He's just like this motherfucking trouble starter on Twitter. He like tells everybody like how many like rap albums streamed or sold, and I'm like, who the fuck is like what? How are you getting this number in 2024? Like, who's selling it?
Yeah, I don't know. On the original release, there were 2 pre-gap tracks. Do you know what that means?
No, what?
It's like when you would put the CD in and then you press the back button and then there's a hidden track. So Vindicated, which originally came out in 2004, and Write It Out, they were both originally pre-gap hidden tracks.
Wait, so what if you let the album play, they don't play, but you have to go before?
Mm-hmm.
Sick. What else has that? I've never heard that.
I don't know. There's probably a list of pre-gap hidden tracks on like Wikipedia.
I legitimately have never heard that before, and I don't know if I've ever seen that in anything that I've ever listened to.
AFI December Underground. The hidden track is an extension to the intro, Prelude 1221. They also have one on their 1996 release, Very Proud of Ya. Let's see if there's any other ones. Armor for Sleep on What to Do When You're Dead.
So this was like a thing. I bet these guys fucking got
There's
it.
a shit ton. Blink 182. Stockholm Syndrome Interlude. The spoken word intro before track 5, Stockholm Syndrome.
What? No.
I don't know how that works.
No, that's in the middle of the
Yeah,
fucking...
how the fuck does that work?
Like, to me, it feels like an album that if you were to ask the artist about it, they would be like, some of these are my favorite songs in the entire world. Like, it feels like one of those albums. And then the his fans from whatever different eras, they might not agree with them. And it's just being like, but to me, when I was listening to this, like, I get, since I am so incredibly open and can see things from every perspective, I'm like, yeah, I could see how this would be his favorite song, or this is like, there's only one song on there that I like don't really vibe with.
Which one?
I wrote it down.
Heaven is Here?
No, it's Slow Decay. Slow Decay. But he does like a Gerard Way vocal thing in that where I was like, damn, that's sick. Like, he fucking is awesome, but it's just the one song I didn't vibe with, and that's okay.
That's
like,
fine. You're not gonna. I mean, these are the days of people making full-length albums, and like, it's very rare to like every track on an album.
Like, I like that track more than I like a lot of other tracks.
What are your standout tracks from this one though? Like, which ones do you like? Which ones grabbed you?
Don't Wait. Because that one feels like a Dashboard song to me.
Well, that's funny because that's the one he wrote in the dressing room of the U2 tour.
Strange, yeah, that one.
And to me, that sounds big. Like, it sounds anthemic. Like, it's got that like big ass fucking like that Coldplay guitar.
No,
like
to
the
me,
two
this
notes.
sounds like that sounds like a Dashboard song. Like, I just took out all the instruments and I was like, yeah, that could be played.
He wrote it in like 10 minutes. He got off stage from opening for U2 and he was like still feeling a buzz and just being like high on that feeling. Went to his dressing room and busted that song out.
Damn. Yeah, I mean, I like that one.
It's a good one.
And then I also like the one with the dude from Counting Crows.
You do?
Which, by the way, do you know anything about him?
I've seen him, but I don't know much about him personally.
He's like,
didn't he date a bunch of famous people?
He's dated literally every hot girl in the entire world. He has somehow managed to date every single fucking hot.
He's not a good-looking guy.
Well, the thing is, he's got bald and has dreadlocks. It's fucking a wild combination of things to have.
It's like the first thing that comes up. Adam Durit's girlfriends. Christina Applegate's, Courtney Cox, Jennifer Aniston, Emmy Rossum, Winona Ryder. Come on, man. You're telling me?
Dude, it's crazy. It's fucking nuts. And that's another thing. So he's touring with U2. He's fucking doing, like, getting shit produced by U2. He pulls in the dude from Counting Crows. He's like, it's like, it feels like he was like, sweet, I'm like ready to ascend into
level up
into soft rock like guy, like arena soft rock guy. And look, there's nothing wrong with that. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. And that just I might be wrong, but 2 + 2 = 4. You get this album, you have Adam Duritz, you have the U2 thing.
They did it though. I mean, they played MSG, they like sold it out. There's a great Dashboard Confessional at MSG concert DVD. They were an arena band for a little bit.
he did something. He was doing like Slipknot shit. He was doing like emo Slipknot shit on this album. He was playing like flower pots.
Well, that came from Don Gilmore. So to jump back into the liner notes, Don Gilmore, he's the guy who he brought on, the second producer. And his past credits, Linkin Park, Lit, Trapped, Korn, Hollywood Undead, Papa Roach, Escape the Fate.
What?
Yeah.
See, I don't look this stuff up because I know you will.
Well, that's the stuff I like,
Yeah, that's not the stuff I like.
but you do like it.
I mean, I like that when you tell it to me. I like being.
That's what I miss about CDs, honestly. Like being able to open these up and like read through the liner notes and then go online and like read about these people and what they've also recorded. This is also mastered by Ted Jensen at Sterling Sound. Guess what else he mastered?
You mean what else he turned the volume up on?
That one.
No way,
The
really?
next album that we're talking about.
Yeah, mastering is fake. They literally just turn up the volume, and then they're like, "That'll be $40,000, please."
Yeah, I don't disagree with you.
It doesn't make any fucking sense. It's whatever. To me, it's like music production psyop. But I'm sure I'm wrong. It doesn't matter. I mean, he did also some sick tours, like with this album. Did
he?
I read this could be wrong. I heard he toured with Brand New and Say Anything.
Oh yeah. I went to that. For sure went to that.
Fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like that is so sick. Like it literally is just him. Like if you look at the cover and shit, like the music videos for the stuff that he does, like him like looking out a window.
Well, if you open it up here, there are there's several gratuitous shots of Chris looking out the mirror, but there are some full band shots here. And there is like I think the music video for the second single, features the full band playing.
No, I mean like I'm not saying like this album is like him. This is who he is as a dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is. He does like looking out a window over a music video and like doing that stuff. Like it's kind of fucking corny, but that's who he is as a guy. And like that's awesome that he is able to be like, yeah, this is fucking who I am. And I think that that's cool. Like I think that is cool that he's able to be like, this is me, guys. I'm gonna look out a window for my fucking music video and play really sad songs on guitar, and then ascend into like writing these types of songs. Like I am not knocking that by any means. I think that it's awesome that he is himself in this era and doing that and doing what he wants to instead of trying to be something that he's not.
I mean, I kind of disagree with you because he was trying to be something that he's not. He said at a point, I listened to the label too much. That's why he did the re-records. I think this was him trying to do something that wasn't really him and that didn't really fit. And that's why he struggled to put it out for 3 years. That's why he changed producers halfway through, because he didn't know what this was. He didn't understand it. It just wasn't getting to that point that he wanted it to be. And I think it was he had too many people in his ear. Like he had too much success and hype off the last record, too much pressure, too many people telling him what to do, and I feel like he lost his way a little bit. And he realized that, I think, 5 years after the fact.
I mean, maybe musically. I was talking about, like, visually. I was like, this is who this guy is. I was like, he likes this stuff. Which I think is... That I do agree with you. You are right in the music stuff. Like, that, absolutely. And that's probably why it doesn't, like, hit me as hard as, like, his other things. Because when he was doing his other things, you're like, this motherfucker feels it.
Yeah, he's super emotional.
Like this, you feel it. Like I to this day think that, like, I don't like ever watching recorded music shit besides like saves the day clips on my phone. Like that I took at a fucking concert. But
yeah, you hear that, guys? Morgan rewatches the concert clips he takes on
I
his
do
phone.
rewatch the concert clips.
He is the guy that actually sits and rewatches.
And it sucks because I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna fucking film. I'm gonna be in the moment. I'm gonna fucking watch this, and then I'm gonna be like, damn, I really want to rewatch this later. I legitimately like watch all of my fucking concert clips.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I like it. It reminds, but then there are some songs where I like very much try and be in the moment. But if it's a band like Saves the Day, I'm just like, I like every one of these songs. He'll probably play something that I don't like next, and then it's something that I like.
My standout tracks, if you want to know,
I do.
like Dusk and Summer, which is like the saddest one on the record, which shouldn't be surprising to anybody because I just love sad music and I love sad Chris. And it's the least band one. It's totally acoustic. It's very slow and very sad.
He really likes doing like this and that. There's like another song on it called like Rooftops and Invitations.
Rooftops and Invitations.
And Dusk and Summer. And then what did you just say? Oh no, yeah, that's what. But it's like, the thing is like Rooftops and Invitations like kind of sound. Look, it kind of sounds like a Further Seems Forever. There's like some Further Seems Forever stuff in there, which I'm like, yes.
Yeah, he said that was a big part of the Florida trip.
Yeah.
You know, uncovering his past with Further and the Vacant Andes.
I have another thing about this album that I'd like to say, and Dashboard in general. I can understand why he wouldn't want to be called emo. Like, I understand. Like, after listening to... I went back and listened to a bunch of stuff after I listened to this one. Like, I can understand. Like, he's writing... They're pop songs. Like, they're pop songs. I get it. Like, I get the thing. And I understand, but it's okay. Like, it is. And this album is not. Like, I don't think that this album is. I think it would be if this is the first album you heard from somebody, you know, if this was a artist's first album, I don't think that you would be like, this is emo in general.
I think that was, you know, part of the plan. I read an article that was like, with this new record, does Dashboard finally shed the emo tag? That was the headline. You know, it was before the record came out, and it was like, Chris has been working with U2's producer, and like he's just trying to go to the next level and shed the tag, the shameful word of emo.
Yeah.
And you have to think about like where the word was.
I get it. I get it. Like, dude, I fucking get it.
Mm-hmm.
I like absolutely get it. It's what some of the reasons like why when we do our stuff, I'm like, we can't have that in there because then it like pigeonholes you into this thing that when people don't really know what it is, they've got an image in their head of what that is. And so it is, I get it. Like I 100,000% get why he wouldn't want to be called emo.
What did you have for If You Like This, You Might Like That?
I had this artist called Her Space Holiday. Have you heard?
I remember, this sounds familiar. I feel like I listened to this.
It's so fucking sick. Hold on. There's like
Don't play it or we'll get a copyright strike.
Okay, well, anyway, if you guys listen to this album or listen to any of these songs, that not most of them I don't really like, but there are a couple on there that are fucking so good. And one of them's called like Your... Hold on, I want to find this. It was 2003, I think. My Girlfriend's Boyfriend. That's the track. Her Space Holiday, My Girlfriend's Boyfriend. I love that song. It was on all of my fucking mixes.
For me, I wrote down Nothing Nowhere, which Chris is
True.
featured on a big Nothing Nowhere song. And I also wrote down the Queen, Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift had this to say about Dashboard Confessional. She said, "Hands Down is a time capsule of teenage romance. Every detail in the song is a brushstroke of that visceral drama, that anticipation, and the anxious trepidation, all leading up to a climactic moment of victorious bravery that pays off better than you dreamt it would. Chris Carrabba whispers, then croons, then screams this story of doing nothing at all. The result, in my opinion, is perfection." See, even then, she was a tortured poet.
It's okay. Taylor GPT, dude. That's like fucking damn. That is so fucking bad. I guess that's why I love her. Like I'm like you're.
I mean, that's exactly who she is. She embraces the
Yeah,
cringe.
that's
and
like-
she's just cringy and just owns it.
Hearing you say that, I was like, stop.
I know.
Dude. Like, please stop.
I know. It's
Ugh.
exactly like her lyrics. It sounds like the lyrics on Tortured Poets, where it's just so wordy, like to be wordy.
In conclusion, for me, my hope is that one day Chris Carrabba goes, damn, that was a wild thing. Like during the MTV Unplugged era where like people were sitting around, fucking singing and screaming with them. Like if anybody sang in their car to anything, it was Dashboard Confessional. And my hope and dream is that like one day his handsome ass will be fucking laying there in bed and go, I want to do that again. I want to write that album again. I want to write that fucking thing again. And he might and he might not.
I was listening to some of the new stuff that like he put out a couple singles, I think like last year, 2023, and I was like, this is good. And it's like acoustic and good. So maybe he has, and maybe it's just like the moment's not right, you know? Maybe it was like you always say, like right people, right place, right time. I think that was a big part of it. You know, Chris was it was an interesting moment with all those bands. They were all touring, and Chris would hop on the road with like pop punk bands or like hardcore bands and bust out an acoustic song, and it somehow like worked.
Yeah, it worked. It's so strange. Like
Yeah.
right time, right place, right person. Dashboard Confessional is so special to me. Like
Me
it
too.
is. And I know that like I kind of went in a little bit on this album about it not being the thing that I particularly like, but the impact that he made on my life and my sister's life and everybody that I knew, like their lives, was so fucking huge. And I am really grateful for the fact that we created recreated that like moment, that MTV moment with our anniversary when he came. Like I am so goddamn grateful that I got to experience that in real life. Truly, I know that you say that it's one of your favorite memories. If I thought I was listening to this, I was like, God damn, that's
That was
probably
sick.
it's probably one of my favorite memories of my life.
Dashboard Confessional is the reason that Emo Night exists. Babs and I sang Dashboard Confessional karaoke at a friend's birthday party. And we thought, how fucking fun is it to be singing a song that we like out at a bar? And that was it.
That's it.
This is Chris Garaba, Dashboard Confessional, huge part of what we do.
Yeah, I was watching interviews with him, and he's so handsome. He looks like Brendan Urie sometimes in some of the interviews from back then.
Got that chiseled jaw.
Something. I don't know. He's a hot guy.
Well, thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of CD Burners, where we took apart Dusk and Summer by Dashboard Confessional. Hope you enjoy this very much. Come to an emo night near you. There are parties happening every single weekend all across the country. Just head to emonight.com and click on tour and see where we're at. Come party with us.
Did you decide to throw the plug in on the end?
I don't know. Is that the first time I've ever done that?
I think that might be the first time you've ever plugged anything.
Do you have anything you want to plug?
No, I started watching our clips though. I watched some of our clips,
Mhm.
and I decided that I don't think this podcast is as bad as I think it is.
I think my editing has gotten better.
I think that this is an okay podcast.
All right, guys.
So go watch the rest of them. That's what I'm plugging.
All right. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.